Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. It is Tuesday and it is our product educational call. Welcome, welcome. We have people on from all over the world. It's so exciting to be part of a global company. And I just want to put a warm welcome out to those who are new for hearing us for the very, very first time, and a warm hug and hello to all of those who are returning to our webinars or our calls. We certainly love doing these, and we're hoping that you're going to enjoy tonight's webinar because we have a lot of great information. You know, the statistics are truly astounding out there. In America, we'll just say Americans. And, you know, I'm sorry, but some of these other countries are really starting to catch up with these statistics, and it's not a good thing. But these statistics are 1 in every 2 people is expected to have heart disease. 1 in every 2.5 are expected to have some form of cancer, and 1 in every 3 people expected to have diabetes. Now, these numbers again are increasing, and it's sad that this has to be happening. But you know, we have a way of, in our society for sure, chasing the disease, or we chase these major imbalances, and it's really up to all of us, you know, to get the right information and to make the best choices for our own health and well-being. So tonight we're going to dig into cellular intelligence and the NHT formulas. And our bodies, we know, are a divine creation right down to the cellular level. They're miracle machines. They're more than machines. They're this divine essence, this bigger picture of who we are. And you know, we're going to learn how StemRenu and the synergistic NHT products support our cells, and watch how they fulfill their highest priority, and they assist in our health and well-being. And I'm Tina Johnson. I'm an advanced health and nutrition consultant. Thank you for joining us. I'm also an ND candidate. And with me tonight is Dr. Chris Morris, and he is an internationally recognized naturopath and sports nutritionist. And so we are so delighted to be here and have a lot to share on tonight. So Dr. Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you for now.
Thank you, Tina. And yes, I'd like to extend a warm welcome with everyone as well. And you're so right. Your health, your energy, the future of your well-being can all be found within the core of your being, the lowest common denominator of your body, the cell. So your cells are programmed with the knowledge and the power to create vibrant health. And we just need to know how to support that. So over the years, we've learned how to nourish our cells, and now we're beginning to understand the importance of supporting how our cells are communicating, how they're signaling externally with its environment, how the cells are communicating internally within the structure of the cell itself to maintain its health and well-being. So essentially, we're dealing with cellular communication at the highest levels, and this is what we're going to talk about tonight. So when you look at cell therapies, and more exclusively stem cell therapies, which is really at the leading edge of medical research, we're going to bring in an understanding of how this approach is taking over the medical community. So let me give you an example. In the world of sports, we're talking about millionaire athletes, pro soccer, pro hockey players. They often come down with a very difficult, complex disorder, and it's referred to as just this chronic pelvic trauma or hip pain because of the type of stress that they put on this area of the body. So oftentimes these are career-ending injuries because it's often very difficult to diagnose. And let me give you an example why. Because here this hip pain just radiates out throughout the whole pelvic region. And this hip and groin pain can come from something like osteoarthritis or micro tears in the muscle tissue. So this is either an anti-inflammatory or, excuse me, a autoimmune disease that's created by inflammation, or a breakdown in the tissue from the wear and tear. So it's more of a structural condition. And then you have this joint pain that radiates to the hip bone there that protrudes from the side of just above the hip joint. And this could be from joint dislocation or dysfunction, or it could be from a lumbar dislocation or a pinched nerve, meaning a herniated disc that pinches on a nerve. So now you're seeing a structural issue. So now you're dealing with an immune function and a structural issue. Oftentimes it can be a vascular issue where there's some type of blockage in the blood flow and what's going on. So every one of these possible causes we can relate to other conditions like autoimmune conditions, arthritis, diabetes, all kinds of arthritides. And then, of course, the vascular conditions can relate to cardiovascular disease, the number one killer that you were referring to earlier, Tina. And then, of course, the structural and the neurological disorders that can involve so many things that you impact the structure, and then the structure impacts the tissue. So when we get calls all the time, I mean, every day we get calls about, well, StemRenu or the NHT products work on this or work on that. When you look at the core fundamental issues of fixing the cell, you can essentially address all these issues. So let's go back to our case study here with these athletes. So here, an athlete comes in, goes to the doctor, usually an orthopedic surgeon, because of these joint issues. And the surgeons warn, check these other circumstances before you do surgery, because once you do surgery, you can't take it back, obviously. And what they've learned is that now, through the renewal science of stem cell therapy, they did a long-term study of hockey players, and they showed that these individuals that were injected with signal molecules from the stem cells, and that's what we're talking about with StemRenu. We're talking about these protein signal molecules that we can put into our systems every day. When these athletes were injected with these signal molecules, 66 out of the 72 players were able to return back to the game, and they extended their careers. So now we're talking about removing these invasive therapies that oftentimes would not address the key issue, because the key issue was hard to find because of the complexity of the body, how everything's connected. That now, with this advanced therapy of using stem cell technology and these signal proteins, they were able to achieve tremendous success in either reducing inflammation or breaking down the vascular blockages or building up the tissue so that it would hold and repair the structural misalignment. So you see how this story alone, or this clinical study, relates to the vast improvements that can happen with the renewal science approach that we're talking about here tonight. So let's talk about what happens on the cell. The cell has the ability to do all these things. It's like on the surface, the brain of the cell is where you have all these receptor sites that take in the information and signal to the environment, as well as signal internally. You have a circulatory system within the cell. You have a digestive system. You have an immune system. You have an eliminative system. So the 70 trillion plus cells that we have in our body are doing hundreds of thousands of functions every second. So you see the incredible dynamics that are happening unconsciously within our bodies. So what we want to do is help everyone understand and appreciate the importance of cellular therapy and cellular communication. And we do that best with 3 of the NHT products. And these products have the ability to take the signal proteins that are being introduced, and they attach to the surface of the cell. You're looking at a cross section of the surface of a cell. And once that signal protein, that signal molecule attaches to the surface, it goes in and communicates what that cell needs to do, whether it's to repair itself, whether it's to replicate itself, whether it's to make another signal protein to activate a process within the cell or a process outside of the cell. This is where everything happens. This is where life happens at its core. And the big three products that we're going to introduce tonight are the ones that allow us to have this optimal cellular communication. So you see at the top, StemRenu. StemRenu has the ability to produce stem cells, meaning that we build healthy bones where inside the bone marrow of the big bones is where stem cells are produced. So we facilitate this healthy bone development so that we have this production of stem cells available to us. And then we have nutrient in the StemRenu that stimulates the release of the stem cells that are available from this bone marrow, from the blood tissue. And then we are unique in having a very special proprietary ingredient that activates the stem cells. So remember what was happening in the study with the athletes? They were being injected with signal proteins to activate their stem cell repair within the tissue that was either inflamed or was misaligned or it was blocked up through its circulation. And actually, if they wanted to enhance that therapy, they would inject stem cells along with the signal proteins, and it would speed up that process. So we're doing that with StemRenu all by itself. So here, every one of us has a very inexpensive way to access what these $1 million-a-year athletes are getting from these advanced treatments that are only just being discovered by conventional medicine. So let's take it a little bit further on the combination of these three. Next is the omega-3 essential fatty acids. And we love this formula because, you know, we all know the importance of fish oil. As a matter of fact, it's a huge seller out there, and individuals are buying it because they've heard so many benefits from the fish oil. But you need to know that it takes therapeutic amounts of the essential fatty acids to make the fish oil work. So we're talking about a formula that has 600 milligrams of DHEA, a very key component to development of the nervous system, and 400 milligrams of the EPA, very important in the circulatory system, for cardiovascular health. But even more so from the cellular perspective, the cell wall, the membrane of the cell, is made up of lipids and requires these essential fats that we're introducing every day in a therapeutic level. And, you know, Tina, what I really like about the omega-3 fatty acids is that the quality, the taste. You know, one of the key reasons most people don't even take fish oil is because they repeat it and they taste it, or else they can't chew it, you know, because of the flavor, and it just turns them off.
Well, and think of so many people out there have digestive issues, stomach problems, gallbladder problems, and so yes, they keep tasting that for a while. So people they'll repel taking it because they don't like the effects of it. But our omega-3 is different.
Totally different. And it's been shown, because it has the therapeutic amounts, you can make the therapeutic claims. You know, it has the ability to do so many things for us.
Absolutely. Just like I was talking about earlier, we can reduce the risk of heart disease. Our EFAs improve cognitive function and neurological development in the fetus. Profound. It supports the health of the macula and the retina of our eyes. It also alleviates symptoms of arthritis by reducing that stiffness and, you know, that joint pain that we can get, whether you're an athlete or you're just aging. It also promotes healthy fat metabolism, which is really key because as we age, our ability to metabolize fat slows down, and this helps promote that again. The other thing that we need is that largest organ of our body, and that is our skin. It helps keep our skin healthy and moisturized and beautiful. And, you know, when somebody's taking a great EFA along with StemRenu, people typically often say, what are you doing with your skin?
Exactly.
Skin changes. Mm-hmm. It's really phenomenal.
So here you have this perfect combination of these two formulas. And then we want to take a look at the inside of the cell. And here's where the Restore formulas are so important. The Restore Silver and Restore Vital. This is a very unique proprietary formula that we got to meet Dr. Lyle and really appreciate his wisdom and understanding of how he developed this formula and how unique it is. It has the ability to put back enzymes that we lose as we age. As we age, we decrease in our healthy hormones and our enzyme functions and our signaling proteins. So all of these things are being revitalized and reestablished when we take these three products. So the ocean inside of us is so critical for this signaling to go on and for all the different functions of the cell that oftentimes it's hindered because of the calcium buildup, the sclerosis. So we hear so much about as we age, we harden and we get sclerotic and we get arthritic conditions. Well, that's that calcium buildup. But then what Restore does is it breaks down the calcium levels inside the cell and allows the body to use it appropriately. So you're breaking down that sclerotic state. You're opening up the fluidity, the signaling dynamic that can happen, and be inhibited with this sclerotic state. So now you're building the surface of the cell. You're activating the communication of the cell, and you're facilitating the internal, ocean, for lack of a better term, that exists inside the cell and balancing all those things. So,
Exactly. Now, one thing that has also been really high on the radar now is you're talking about sclerosis or being sclerotic in the brain. When we have that sclerosis, we're talking about dementia, Alzheimer's, and this can go right to that brain. And we're talking our brain is a huge percentage of fat, and we can break down that sclerosis with the Restore and have the proper signaling with StemRenu. Just think about the regeneration. Exactly. So we're not only working at the cells, we're working at the brain. All of the different systems get to experience the benefit of these three products that we call the healthy cocktail.
Exactly.
It's our NHT healthy cocktail.
It was really nice to have the affirmation from Dr. Lau, where here's a brilliant scientist who can get products, any type of products that he wanted, and knows what's the best. And he said every day these are the three that he takes because he knows this is so critical. And he works from this ancient Chinese medicine theory of the root and tree and branch theory. And what it says is if you fix the roots, which is the core of the body, what's the core of the body? It's the cells, because the cells make up the tissue make up the organs make up the systems, and the systems are who we are. It's a combination of these systems to make our being. So when you're able to fix the root, then you have the healthy branches and the healthy leaves, and life goes on wonderfully. So our ability to extend into life and extend into the world comes from the core of and that's why we're emphasizing the cellular being. So when the cell health improves, the replication of your cells, every new cell that you make is going to be a better cell than the one before it. So our tissues perform better now because we have healthier cells, and then our communication is so much better at the highest levels. So the future of food technology and supplementation is understanding the language of the cell and how it communicates. And these three formulas do that for us optimally. So essentially, you're getting at one of the main functions of the cell is to make energy. And how important is that?
It's so important because we know that we used to think that we lose energy as we age, but that's truly a myth. What happens is we start to age because we lose the ability to make energy, and now we can go back to helping our bodies make its own energy. And what do? We activate the renewal system and we start reversing that aging process.
Exactly. So the takeaway from this is to really understand how the StemRenu represents the future of medical practice from the standpoint of being able to help the body produce healthy stem cells, to stimulate the release of them, and to activate them. And once you're able to do that, you have the ability to regenerate and repair the body. But it takes good fats and it takes good internal cytoplasm within that cell in order to have those healthy cells reproduced and manufactured in a healthy way. So every day, Tina, you and I, we know we get calls about different conditions, whether it's a chronic condition, like you mentioned earlier, diabetes or arthritis or cardiovascular disease. We get developmental questions like things like cerebral palsy. Here's a condition that a child is often born with because of the lack of development in the fetal tissue. But because we have the signal proteins in the pre-embryonic stage, these signal proteins have the ability to go back to regenerate this blueprint to correct even regenerative diseases, diseases that were created because of developmental issues. So when you can signal at every level of our life, you have the ability to repair and regenerate. And again, the key is working on the cellular level, no matter what the condition is. So we should ask everyone out there: wouldn't you love to have access to the latest in therapies? Wouldn't you love to have the ability to handle stress better in your life? Because what does stress do to us? I mean, it's
Accelerates our aging, and actually it accelerates our aging so much that it can break down our collagen 10 times faster than if we weren't stressed.
so there. Collagen's the glue that holds our cells together. So again, it connects directly to cell therapy. So all the other issues that you see there, blood sugar, pH, oxidative stress, depleting our hormones, increased inflammation, stress does it all. And we showed clinically how we're able to reduce stress by as much as 50%. And so here's what we recommend for everyone. You take these three products as your core foundation for cellular health, and then you build around that the synergistic dynamics of the other NHT products, the incredible protein support and immune enhancement with the glutathione you get from the triotein, the antioxidant support from the new OcuFocus, the juices that are phenomenal, the premium noni that has some 200 unique ingredients for our health and well-being maintenance. All of these formulas give you the building blocks that the cell needs, and we direct them more efficiently with the big three. We use them more efficiently, and there's this wonderful synergistic dynamic that happens.
So the bottom line here is we need to stop chasing symptoms and we need to stop chasing diseases. What we need to do is have our healthy cocktail every single day. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to have healthy cells. We have healthy cells that, think about it, 70,000 trillion or so cells in our body. And if you can have healthy cells, you know that you're going to have healthy tissue, healthy organs, healthy systems. So work at the cellular level and everything else will get taken care of.
You got it.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Chris. Let's talk a little bit about next week. Next week, we're going to have the call, the webinar, The Complexity of Chronic Degenerative Disease and Repetitive Sports Trauma. So anybody that knows an athlete or even repetitive, when you think about repetitive trauma, it doesn't even have to be sports. You're definitely going to want to have them on this webinar. Now, we haven't opened up for any Q&A, but some of you, thank you for shouting out to us, giving us on the webinar some of your chats, saying hello. We say hi back to all of you. There's a lot of people on tonight, so it's just awesome. But maybe what we could do going forward is if you know you have a question, why don't you go ahead and Joe, I'm going to put your email out there. It's yjoegarcia@bell.net. And in the subject line, go ahead and put in doctor's call question, and then Joe will get that over to us before the next doctor's call. We'll make sure then that we answer the Q&As at the end. And then next week, we might even go ahead and open it up for all of you that are on the webinar where you can just type your question in. We'll see how that goes as well. So this has been recorded and it will be available for you on steamteam.ca. So thank you everyone for being on tonight's webinar, and we look forward to being on with you again next week.